This video is going to show how to define electrical rules with the Constraint Manager in OrCAD X. Along with spacing and physical requirements, rules can be implemented to ensure electrical performance such as trace impedance and propagation delay. With the Constraint Manager and the new Constraints panel in OrCAD X, quickly and easily define electrical rules or constraints to ensure first-pass success with your design. Start by opening the provided design in OrCAD X. The procedures shown in this video can be done in OrCAD X PCB Designer or OrCAD X Presto. If the Constraints panel is not visible, select View, Panels, Constraints from the menu. The panel opens on the right side of the canvas. Here you can define physical, electrical, and spacing constraints for any net or layer right in the design canvas. At the top of the panel, basic constraints are visible for electrical rules. Select Advanced under Electrical to define advanced electrical rules such as wiring, differential pairs, propagation delay, return path, and impedance. For this example, we will select impedance to define an impedance rule set. To create a new constraint set, select the plus sign for Create Electrical CSet. The Create Electrical CSet window opens. Enter a name for the set and click OK to create it. The new set is automatically selected in the Rule Set drop-down. Enter the desired single-ended impedance and tolerance, in this case 30 ohms at 2% tolerance. With the constraint set defined, let's assign it to the appropriate nets. To assign a constraint set within the Constraints panel, we need to select the nets. In the Selection Filter subpanel, deselect all objects and select Nets. Select a pin or trace on the desired net. In the Constraints panel, select the new constraint set from the Rule Set dropdown to assign the constraint set to the net. Constraints can also be defined and assigned in the Constraint Manager. To open the Constraint Manager, select Electrical Analysis Constraint Manager from the menu. The Constraint Manager window opens, showing a directory of constraint domains and worksheets. Select the electrical domain in the Net, Routing, Impedance worksheet. Rules can be assigned to individual nets here, but to save time, groups of rules can be created and assigned to nets with constraint sets. To assign the defined constraint set, select the cell under Reference Electrical CSet and choose the desired constraint set from the resulting drop-down. The constraints defined in the Constraints panel are listed in the table, indicating that the set was assigned. Let's verify that the design rule checks were turned on when we assign the constraints. Select Analyze Analysis Mode from the Constraint Manager menu. The Analysis Modes window opens. Here you can enable all design rule checks available in OrCAD X. Select Electrical from the list on the left. Ensure On is selected from Mark All Constraints to enable all electrical rule checks. Click OK to save the settings and close the window. The Constraint Manager now shows measured impedance for both B and C connectors in this design. The impedance values are listed in red, indicating that they are out of range and fail the design rule check. Let's fix this in the PCB canvas. To view the affected traces, let's use the DRC pie chart and search panel. Select Properties to open the Properties panel. Select the pie chart to open the list of violations in the search panel. Double-click a violation to be brought to its location in the canvas. DRC markers are shown indicating the out-of-range impedance on these traces. The trace widths can be changed to adjust the impedance. Enable traces in the Selection Filter subpanel and disable nets. Select one of the affected traces. In the Properties panel, set the trace widths to the appropriate value to meet impedance requirements. Repeat this process for all affected traces with impedance DRC markers. When finished, reopen the Constraint Manager. The impedance values are now listed in green, indicating that they are now in spec and no longer in violation. Quickly and easily define electrical rules to ensure proper performance and functionality of your PCBs with the Constraint Manager in OrCAD X. For more tutorials, visit us at resources.ema-eva.com and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.